Have you ever imagined driving on a road that literally floats on the ocean? Or what about hopping on a bullet train that zooms right under the seabed? I know, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? Well, it's not. This is happening right now in modern-day China, a country that's getting known as an engineering magician for building things that seem, well, just about impossible.
So, let's get right into it. Why this nickname, Magician of Development? What exactly is China doing with its infrastructure that has the entire world just watching, with this mix of total awe and, frankly, a little bit of concern? We're going to break down some of their most absolutely jaw-dropping projects to see just how they're pulling it off.
Okay, let's start with just one number, 45,000 kilometers. That's how much high-speed rail China has built in just the last 10 years. To give you some perspective on that, that's long enough to wrap around the entire planet Earth. It's just a staggering achievement.
And the scale of it is what's truly mind-bending. I mean, look at this. China's high-speed rail network isn't just big. It's bigger than the networks of every other country in the world combined. This isn't just about getting from point A to point B anymore. This is a massive display of economic might, and it's a key engine fueling their growth.
So, what does all that speed actually feel like for a regular person? Well, think about a train journey that takes, say, 6 or 7 hours. Now imagine making that exact same trip in under an hour. That's the reality there. It completely changes your idea of distance and what it means to be connected.
But this ambition, it doesn't just stop on land. Oh no, now China is taking on the sea itself, building some of the most colossal bridges the world has ever seen.
Seriously, picture this. You're just driving your car. You look to your left, you look to your right, and all you see is the vast, churning ocean stretching out to the horizon. It really feels like you're on a floating road, suspended right over the water. It's surreal.
And we're not talking about little bridges here. We're talking about massive bridge systems, like the Shihomen Bridge Network, that stretch for almost 50 kilometers. They connect islands that were once totally isolated, plunging them right into the mainland.
And here's the crucial part. These are so much more than just roads. They're total game changers for the economy. They've turned these quiet, remote islands into home for some of the world's busiest ports and huge industrial parks. A trip that used to take hours by boat can now be done in minutes by a fleet of trucks. It's a total transformation.
Okay, so building over the water is one thing. That's impressive enough. But now we're going even deeper. We're talking about incredible projects being built directly underneath the ocean floor.
So get ready for this, the Jintang Undersea Tunnel. This thing is sent to be the world's longest high-speed rail tunnel that's underwater. I want you to just imagine a bullet train hitting 250 kilometers per hour, dozens of meters beneath the bottom of the sea. This is the next frontier of engineering.
You've got to be asking, how is that even possible? Well, the tech is just incredible. They use these absolutely enormous drilling machines, we're talking as tall as a 5-story building, and they start digging from opposite ends. Then, using super precise GPS and satellite guidance, these two mechanical monsters meet up in the middle with millimeter accuracy. It's an unbelievable feat.
And maybe the best example of this kind of wild undersea construction is the tunnel section of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. This was a project that really pushed the boundaries of what anyone thought could be done.
The way they built it is just mind-blowing. Instead of drilling, they used something called the immersed tube method. Basically, they built the tunnel in these giant, hollow concrete pieces inside a factory. Then they sealed them up, floated these massive sections out into the middle of the sea, and then carefully sank them, one by one, into a trench they'd already dug on the ocean floor, before connecting them all together.
And just to give you a sense of the weight we're talking about here, each one of those tunnel segments weighs about 76,000 tons. That's about the same as a modern aircraft carrier. An aircraft carrier, and they had to perfectly place 33 of them on the seabed. It's just, wow.
The amount of raw material here is almost impossible to comprehend. Just look at this. The steel and concrete that went into this one underwater tunnel project would be enough to build 8 towers the size of the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, the tallest building on Earth. 8 of them. Now, there's no denying the worldwide praise for China's engineering skills. It's incredible. But projects on this kind of epic scale, they almost never happen without a cost.
And that leads us to a really important question. While the world is watching these mega projects rise from the ground in the sea, what's the story that's happening behind the curtain? Is there maybe a darker side to all of this super fast development?
And it turns out
the price of all this progress is very steep. Critics point to really severe environmental damage, everything from deforestation to destroying entire wildlife habitats. And then there's the human cost, which includes forcing entire communities to relocate, and some very serious questions about the rights and the safety of the workers who are actually building these modern wonders.
So what you have is this really complex picture. On one hand, China is building its future at a speed that just takes your breath away. But on the other hand, it's clear that this development comes with huge trade-offs. Immense achievement sits right alongside immense cost.
So, when all is said and done, what's the ultimate legacy of all this construction going to be? How should we, and the rest of the world, really look at these modern marvels?
You know, there's a saying that seems to capture the whole philosophy driving China's ambition perfectly. One doesn't have to wait for the future. The future must be built by oneself. That is a proactive, incredibly powerful statement of intent, and we're seeing it brought to life in steel and concrete every single day.
Which leaves us with one final question to think about. As these engineering masterpieces completely reshape the landscape, are we watching a bold new horizon for all of humanity take shape? Or are we just witnessing a massive, high-stakes gamble with environmental and social costs that we don't even fully understand yet?